Better subscribe, bitches.
Till suck until rain, till suck until rain, through the dust and setting sun. There were many good souls on that lonely fob, but none like the white lass.
I am confident in saying that the Odyssey looks like shit and is most likely a missed opportunity. And I can say that even though I haven't watched it yet. I am sick and tired of people stating that you cannot criticize a film without watching it first. Yeah, I can't state that a film is bad without having watched it, but I can criticize or not like the choices made to produce the film and or the trailers and other promotional materials, so, you know.
Fuck you!
Not long ago, I too was naive and blinded by the glamours of Hollywood. Back when I considered myself a film buff, I used to watch or at least give any film within reason a chance based on the only fact that it was a film. If the right people were involved or a story I loved was finally being adapted to film, I would go see said film with that information alone. If a film or story I never heard of had a kick-ass trailer or great word of mouth, I would watch the film. Now, films have to prove to me that they are worth spending my time and money on.
You're gonna cry? You're gonna cry, titty baby? Huh? You're gonna fucking cry?
Now, to be fair, some of my reluctance to race to the theaters to watch whatever propaganda is being animally induced to the masses has to do with my age, the lack of movie theater etiquette, and probably more predominantly my PTSD that was generously given to me by the number of explosions, RPG, artillery, and small arms fire courtesy of Islam. But put all that aside, if a film looks good, has good word of mouth, and is a story I am intrigued by, then I will go see it. But lately, that's just not the case. Today, the only films that may drag me to the theaters are the huge tentpole, blockbuster type films that can only be appreciated in a theater setting. My kids are now old enough to go see the movies they want to see on their own. So I don't have to watch any shot-for-shot live-action Disney film. I just go to the theaters when I really want to, which is basically never. The last film I saw in theaters was Jurassic World Rebirth. I didn't want to see it, but this was the last film that my youngest needed an adult with him for him to see, whom, by the way, is a huge Jurassic Park fan. So we went as a family and suffered because it sucked. My son, the fanatic, also thought it sucked. Plus, there were people who were loud on their phones, so it made me hate the film that much more. So now, if the movie looks epic enough and the trailer is good, and I hear it's good, I will get my old ass out to the theaters to watch it. Fuck. If any one of those three reasons is iffy, I won't. So when it was announced that Christopher Nolan's next film was going to be The Odyssey, I thought that this was going to be epic. This was going to be the film to bring me to the theaters. But sadly, due to the retarded made-up word of Hollywood, that is not the case. So this is my review of The Odyssey, even though I didn't see it. Immediately watching the first trailer, I was cautiously optimistic. I didn't hate it, but I did not like Batman as Agamemnon. Hope I said that right. It just looked out of place and almost satirical. At that point, I was still planning on going to the theater, but sadly, information regarding the film began to leak and subverted my plans. Most of the information that came out regarding Odyssey were rumors or hearsay, with some being true and some false. The problem is, what ended up being true hurt the film's bottom line, and those rumors that became facts started to add up. I'm no historian. I can't even say for sure if I've even read the Odyssey. I know I read parts of either the Odyssey or Iliad in high school, but I can't remember which one. They are works that I've always wanted to read, but I haven't.
'Cause you're a pussy boy.
But regardless of my lack of education, I can still, in my opinion, distinguish between what I feel or perceive as good or bad. There's good choices and bad choices made with this film. The only good choice that was made was a hiring of Nolan to direct. But looking back now, that seems to also be a bad choice. Of all the bad choices, the first and most obvious was the casting. Now, this was one of the rumors that ended up being true, but at the same time, it was just a rumor. But even still, having a crap load of ethnic actors that are not Greek in the film, for me, just takes me out. Takes me out of the film completely. Now, if they had made a contemporary story, like the Romeo and Juliet in the 90s, based off the Odyssey that takes place in LA during the Crips and Blood gang wars of the 80s and 90s, then casting would not have been an issue. You know, you could have taken a pretty girl from the Bloods who falls in love with a Crip and decides to move over to the Crips turf, which then kicks off a massive gang war. I would probably actually watch that. It'd be at home, but I'd still watch it. Casting ethnic people in 90s LA would make sense because that is representative of that time and the culture. If you're going to retell Homer's ancient story or poem set in the time it was written, then you should cast appropriately. Like, what the hell?
I totally agree with you.
If you're just casting a bunch of black folks, Asians, Hispanics, and Indians who are supposed to be Greek, it pulls you out of the film. Films are meant to be immersive. You're supposed to feel like you're there living the story alongside the characters. When ideology is obvious, especially today, it just pulls you out of the film. Now, as I stated before, I'm not a historian, so most of the armors and weapons and boats, it didn't bother me like it does others, because I frankly couldn't tell you what is correct or not. But what I can tell you is what I like and what I don't like. And as I said prior, I didn't like the Batman outfit, nor did I like the Giants of the Round Table that were in the second trailer. But what bothered me most was the language. Using contemporary vernacular in a serious time period film also pulls me out. I don't want a strict, thy father, so, whatever, but I also don't want current day phrases or the slang. I think Troy did great with the language. It was fancy enough to seem historic, but not too fancy to where it was confusing. The Odyssey, it's just straight up how I'm talking right now, which is retarded, I think. I would prefer all words spoken in Greek or Latin and read subtitles over a contemporary, language. So it was at this point I'm thinking, I'm definitely not going to the theaters to watch it. But when it comes out on streaming, I probably will. But then the PR campaign started, and little by little, more information starts coming in, repressing my desire and my excitement for the film more and more. For example, the interpretation that Nolan clearly chose to focus on for his story, which is Emily Wilson's feminist version of Homer's The Odyssey. I'm sorry, but feminism just ruins everything it complains about. There's a difference between women's rights and retarded feminism. That's not what this video is about, and I'm not here to talk about that. The other fact that hurt the film for me was when the director, the actors, and everyone else involved, while being questioned on some of the issues that were in the headlines regarding the film, were answered in very egotistical, self-centered, Hollywood privileged ways. If anybody, whether that's the director, actors, producers, media, or my neighbor, if they start bashing me because I don't want to watch a film based off of the reasons I've listed, my desire to watch is even less than before. But what solidified
Today, Junior?
my lack of desire to not watch the Odyssey, like at all, was after I watched the content creators whose opinion I trust or have the same taste in film, that they were reporting basically that the film is not very good. It's not bad, but it's definitely not good. When the Odyssey is compared to other films, it's decent, but when compared to Nolan's filmography, it sucks. I know a lot of people don't like Nerdrotic, but I like his scripted videos on whatever he's talking about, critiquing TV, film, or comics. The reason I trust him above many others is because, for one, we're pretty close in age. He's a little older, but we're close. And 2, his nostalgic love for films. They're all similar to my own. Case in point, Big Trouble in Little China. It's one of my favorite films, and I know it's one of his as well. So based on those factors, I trust his reviews. I don't always agree with them, but I trust he is being genuine. So now, not only will I not see the Odyssey in theaters, I probably won't watch it ever, which sucks because, as I stated before, I like Christopher Nolan. I like most of his films, and I was excited for his Odyssey. Now, just to kind of give you an idea, my top 3 films of Christopher Nolan's is Inception, Prestige, and Memento. I own them all, and I have watched them multiple times. I also own and love his Batman films. I haven't seen Tenet. I did finally watch Oppenheimer when it was on Netflix, which I liked, but I don't think I'll watch it a second time. Interstellar was cool and definitely worth watching, like a must-see, but I also don't care to watch it again. I liked Insomnia, but I have only watched it the one time. And as far as his first film, I don't even know what it's called, and I haven't watched it. I think it's obvious I'm not a PC individual.
Do you think?
But I'm also not the type of person that Hollywood and mainstream media tries so desperately to convince everyone that the world is full of, which is misogynist, racist, and sexist individuals who can't watch movies with people of color or women in them. 2 of my favorite actors growing up were Will Smith and Denzel Washington. We know about Will right now, and Denzel is one of the greatest to ever do it, but he's starting to get up there in age, so his roles are less and less. I don't need to have representation on screen or see myself in the main character. For example, I love Blade. I love the movies. The one that sucks has all the white people in it, but I enjoy them. I love 2000s Charlie's Angels, the type of film she'll claim Disney Star Wars is. You know, turn off your brain and have a good time. Which is possible as long as it is well written. If it is, I'll watch it. I don't need a middle-aged vet on screen to connect with. It's just such a stupid take. I like well-written films. If it happens to have women as the hero, then cool, as long as the writing is good. I know it's been said a million times before, but Sigourney Weaver as Ripley and Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor are 2 of the most beloved badass chicks in cinema history. And it's because they're well-written characters with a character arc that takes them on a journey that sees them become the badasses that we've grown to love, but while still being feminine. When you have women who are just automatically smarter, stronger, faster, and just better than men in every way without even trying, or if they're ugly lately, that's not a well-written character. That's feminism. The women empowerment scene in Avengers Endgame was a little corny, but I liked it. You know, all the women coming together to get the gauntlet through the chaos of the battle. I actually liked it. I enjoy when women can subvert your expectations, especially when it goes against a dick that is actually misogynistic and not just masculine. The over-exaggerated, racist, misogynistic douches don't really exist in the manner that Hollywood always portrays. And yes, there are some, but they're very, very few. I mean, 90% of what Hollywood produces is bullshit.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit?
And once you start to notice the propaganda in films, or when somebody is trying to push a narrative, it's blatantly obvious when it wasn't before. You know, it wasn't to me 10, 20, 30 years ago. I think a lot of people. But now, even when I watch an older film from that time, I notice the agenda when I didn't notice it then. It's not quite as on the nose as it is today, but you can see it. I get that America is a melting pot and other countries are becoming as well, for better or for worse. There's lots of different skin pigments and ethnic groups and culture. But the fact of the matter is, European countries and the States are still predominantly white, even today. So if a film that takes place thousands of years ago in Greece, statistically speaking, pretty much everybody's going to be a light-skinned Greek. Were there people from Africa around then? Yeah, of course. Sure. I don't know. I'm not a historian. But if black folks in Greece are now the minority, or if they're the minority now, how many do you think there were present back then? Well, not very many. That's the problem with Hollywood and in films today. Producers, writers, and directors want to make the message or an agenda, whether it's feminism, misogyny, or racism, the focus of the story, even when that is not part of the plot. They just need to write a good story. If that story happens to genuinely include those topics through an organic writing process, and it helps move the story along, then great. But when it's the other way around and it's forced, it doesn't work. And like I said before, it pulls you out. The proof of that is in the current crumbling of Hollywood. Luckily, the art of film and television is being preserved through independent filming and content creators. Those films are creating buzz and making profits when Hollywood isn't. Popular movie studios and production companies are noticing this. And after years of failed reboots, reimagining, and propaganda, they're slowly getting rid of the message entertainment. Now, the Odyssey will not flop. At the time of me recording this, I think it made 200 million on the week on
Spit that shit out, man!
opening weekend. But that's not really a success if you look at the numbers. 10 years ago, if this film was made without Emily Wilson's book and instead stayed true to Homer's writings and they cast it appropriately, this film would have been massive. It would have been the biggest of all time. So the fact that it's not the biggest movie of all time, it means it failed. Sorry, but in the world of woke agenda-driven Hollywood, the camel's back has been finally broken. And I think the Odyssey is to be the last straw. Well, anyway, that's enough from me. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your time, and I'll see you next time. God bless.
There were many brave souls on that lonely fob, but none fought like the white lie.